All right, and we are live. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. If you are rocking with the Inner Circle podcast on on this Thursday evening, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, I'm very grateful for the support as always. First and foremost, man, got a lot of things to talk about. We're gonna go over a lot of gaming news that recently came out for Xbox One, as well as just gaming in general. Mostly some really great things if you're into multi-plat titles. Great news coming out of Square for once. We'll focus on what IPs we'd like to see back on Xbox. Get a chance to talk about Scorpio again with this whole leak mess and a few other things. So let's get started. Let's check this out. We got, oh yeah, Prey as well. Forgot all about that one.
Oh, baby. Don't forget Prey.
Yeah, you this Prey crap. Give me 1 second to tweet it out to Facebook. Mm. And then we will begin. And done. All right, let's get the party started. Welcome to Planet Xbox. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I came out like that. That was just weird. Thank you for listening to Tick Podcast, a premier podcast for Xbox One. I'm your host, KLWar SKL with B Money 101.
Yeah, what's up, everybody?
And Anchorman V.
Hey, everybody. Good night. How you guys doing today?
And we are the Inner Circle. Obviously, we're a bit giddy. A lot of great news, a lot of great information came out today when it comes to gaming. We are going to talk about a lot of things, a lot of different topics. So I'm definitely excited about it. If you come into the show early or if you come into the show late and you listen to the show, please give us a thumbs up. We greatly appreciate the support, sharing that information out to all your social media sites to help grow the brand and the network. Greatly appreciative. So big news today, man. Square Enix came out. They went ahead and talked about a big game reveal prior to obviously announcing what they announced today. A lot of people thought it was going to be something to do with Kingdom Hearts 3, saw some sort of new video, some sort of new information. But boy, was it a megaton of a surprise. I happened to just be scrolling through pretty much my timeline when I see B Money here post something and retweet it, and I read it, and it's a tweet from Marvel about how they have teamed up with Square to make a new Avengers game. Now, this is a big deal. I mean, Marvel's really trying to take over the industry, man, with their movies, with they had a nice little set of animated cartoons back in the day that used to come on. I think it was MTV or something like that. The Blaze series, X-Men, Iron Man, which was pretty cool for its time. I'm not a fan of their animated shows. I always think DC does a way better job, but their movies have been very successful. And now with the trilogy of the Avengers probably coming close to a close, and then eventually going into the Guardians of the Galaxy thing, I think it's the right time to drop an Avengers game. Now, the key thing with this, though, is that it's not, when you look at the studios working on the game, when you look at the studios when they introduced the actual trailer for the show, for the game, it wasn't like it was Square and it was going to be something like Final Fantasy. It wasn't Japanese based. It was published by Square, but seems to be developed by Eidos Montreal and Crystal Dynamics. And to me, that's huge. That's a big deal. Eidos Montreal works on Deus Ex. Crystal Dynamics works on Tomb Raider. Without question, this is going to be a westernized game. The question is, what type of game will it be?
Yeah, I will say it's so funny with the Avengers thing because I kind of when they announced that Marvel and Square were gonna have two separate announcements at the same time, I was like, all right, don't get your hopes up, don't say anything about it. Just be like, maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's a coincidence that maybe Marvel's doing to go show a Thor Ragnarok trailer because they've still yet to show one. And then you have maybe it was I don't know, some Square was going to do something Final Fantasy related or something like that. or even Kingdom Hearts. Then it was like, okay, well, if they are related, it's probably Kingdom Hearts, having Marvel come into the Kingdom Hearts universe. And I was like, what if it was an Avengers game? What if it was like maybe this is like something like a Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy 15 engine, something like that. I don't know, but just imagine what kind of game it would be. And I was so surprised this morning to actually find out it really is an Avengers game. And I really, really hope it doesn't turn out like Life is Strange, where it's an episodic kind of game. I really hope it doesn't, because that's what they're
Yo,
doing with
could you
Guardians
imagine that?
Telltale.
I don't think we're gonna be.
I know they didn't pick the right studio to do it, so at least that much. But I would be extremely disappointed if it turns out to be one of those kind of games. I wouldn't know what to say.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. That whole situation with the whole episodic thing. I think they pulled that off with Hitman, didn't they?
Yeah, they pulled it off with Hitman, but I meant more like along the lines of like a Telltale kind of game, like Life is Strange and that kind of stuff. I really hope it's not that kind of game.
I don't think so. I don't think it even come close. Not with Crystal Dynamics and like if you're gonna do a Telltale game, you're gonna reach out to people that work in that area or work in that field. I don't see Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal. They got two studios on this, not just like, oh, Crystal's going to work on it, or they got two major studios working on this game, meaning that I feel like it's going to be a full-blown action adventure game with a lot of RPG elements. That's exactly how I feel. The question is it team-based? Are you playing as a single individual person? Are you playing as a group? How many Avengers are there going to be? Please, God, don't make it be based on the movies. Make it be based on the comics or its own original lore. I would really hope they did that and didn't limit you to the Avengers from the movies, but the Avengers through history, to me, would be absolutely amazing. It doesn't have to be a mega big game, but allow you to play with a good selection of Avengers, all the way from Iron Man to Luke Cage would just be amazing.
Yeah, more comics focused. It's a real thing.
Right, exactly. B, you there? I think B lost his mic.
Yeah, what's going on with this?
Okay, there you go.
Crazy hangout joint, but it's definitely gonna be like a third person like action game. A lot of people are speculating that it could be like an MMO or like a master multiplayer game. I don't think it's gonna be that, but based on the companies that are working on the game. So do we know what Crystal Dynamics pedigree, with the latest to then Eidos Montreal, we know with a Deus Ex. So I think when you put those two powerhouses together, we'll definitely see a third person action game, with some heavy RPG elements like you kind of mentioned. So I think we probably won't see for a while, probably not until like next year. But I think this was a great tease to kind of get people hyped about it.
I'm not gonna lie though, if they did make an Avengers game similar to Final Fantasy, it would be dope. But you would have to be able to rotate. You know what I'm saying? Like as much as I love Final Fantasy,
Ultimate Alliance. Unless you treat it like that.
Yeah, but what's crazy about that is like, the bigger games get, the harder they are to run, especially on this hardware. PS4 and Xbox One. The crazy thing about Final Fantasy is as wonderful as the environment is, as big as the world is, in all actuality, it's not a lot of stuff happening in that environment. You know what I'm saying? You go out there, the animals phase in. You only get a few creatures every once in a blue moon that pop up in certain areas. It's not like they have them all littered throughout the area and you have a lot going on. And because of that, I think it allows the game to run really, really well. With Avengers, the way they showed that intro, I don't see an Ultimate Alliance at all. I don't. I don't see like a what is that camera view from Diablo?
Oh, top down.
Yeah, like a top down adventure game where you're traveling from area to area and you guys are beating up people and stuff like that, like Ultimate Alliance. Though I thought Ultimate Alliance was amazing for its time, I think we've moved on from that. I would like to explore something that's a little bit more realistic, something that's more in depth. I hope they allow you to make combo attacks absolutely combo attacks. I loved Ultimate Alliance with Iron Man and Wolverine. Iron Man shoots his, optic blast, not optic blast. That's Cyclops. He shoots his proton cannon, and and Wolverine deflects it with his animanium claws, and the beam hits everybody around him. It's like an area of, like a area attack, and it's pretty dope. And it would be amazing if they were able to do that in this new game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, it's got to be squad based. It's not an Avengers game unless it's squad based. I mean, the only way if it wasn't that kind of game, it would have to be more of a mission focus, not an open world kind of deal, where you're going into a location with a group of people, but you have people that were attuned to each role. So let's say you have a group of 4 going in to fight, so like there's going to be a portion of just battle, and you play as the Hulk or something like that. And like when that portion's done, you got to do a stealth portion. You play as Spider-Man or something. Like I don't know. We're all speculating here. We don't know how it's actually going to be. I'm just so excited it exists.
I don't know. I mean, I think you definitely have to focus on a character and you be able to use that character. And I think it would kind of suck if I think it would suck if they allowed you to just rotate through characters per mission, and you weren't able to explore their abilities and open up other abilities or other attacks as you go throughout the course of the game. Like they discover new ways of using their abilities. But it seems the way that intro was that the Avengers got wrecked by somebody, and they need to reassemble. And it would be really cool if it wasn't even the original Avengers. And that's the way they made it seem. Everything is in rubble. You see, Thor's hammer stuck to the floor, Iron Man's shield. I mean, Captain America's shield, Iron Man's glove. And you're just like, what's going on? They all look beat up, and at the end, it's like reassemble. So who's reassembling if these guys lost to bring in new Avengers? I think that would be amazing if they were able to do that.
You were putting down the Marvel animated stuff for a little bit. I'll let that slide, but
Marvel animated stuff is garbage.
It's not garbage,
bro.
Man. That Spider-Man show was so good back in the 90s.
No. I'm not talking about the 90s stuff. The 90s stuff was amazing. I'm talking about this new stuff. I'm not a fan of it. Now, don't get me wrong. Hulk versus Thor and Hulk versus Wolverine, amazing. But some of this new stuff they have on Netflix in comparison to what DC puts out, bro, it's not even close.
We're not going to comparison, but I'm just saying that some of they have been following the animated universe pretty close. It's actually really creepy. If you go watch the Ultimates movie that they put out, it's almost point for point the Avengers plot line. It's pretty close. Even the second one, I mean, there's a little bits and pieces of how the structure for that universe goes through. But the big thing is they follow the Doctor Strange plot pretty closely as well. They made a few changes. But the big one that I think of is the next Avengers. It's a small little show where it's the children of the Avengers, where some of the Avengers are still alive. Most of them are dead, but a few of the Avengers are still alive, and you're reassembling portions of the team. Like you're convincing Tony to go back into the suit. You find the Hulk, who's still alive out there somewhere. Like you're reassembling them, but there's a new wave of heroes, like people who have like the offspring of children. Like you have Hank and Janet Pym, or Janet Van Dyne and Hank Pym's kid. You have the spawn of T'Challa and Storm. Like you have Black Widow and Captain America. Like it's something like that, where it's the next generation of heroes, because you get that kind of vibe from it. Because they talked about they call you dangerous or something like that. Like this is the next generation of heroes, kind of reassembling the team, but also joining the ranks. At least that's kind of vibe I was getting from it.
Right. Well, it's going to be definitely an interesting game. I'm looking forward to what they have to show. I'm very, very excited about it, and I know you are as well. Very quickly, we're going to jump into our next topic, and we're going to talk about a little bit about Prey. Prey has been really, really fantastic looking. A lot of people, some guys call it Dishonored. like Dishonored 2 or Dishonored 3 or whatever, a knockoff, but it's a really exciting game. Anchor, what are your thoughts on the game? And how do you truly feel about the game now that it's had this remake of itself?
Now, I was actually doing a lot of stuff at work. I was just had a little bit of free time. I was reading into the first Prey. I mean, the first Prey looked interesting. I mean, it really did. But at the same time, it's been over 10 years, and we hadn't seen a sequel. I mean, it's honestly rebooting the Prey franchise wouldn't be the worst thing. At least it exists, and I don't know if the NIS one would hold up as a spiritual successor to it, or if it doesn't carry a similar vibe. I'm looking forward to it because it gives me that 70s space station kind of tone to it. I'm looking forward to it personally. I think when I first saw it, I thought of like BioShock in space. But I mean, it does have a lot of darker stuff, a lot of darker elements to it, which I understand the whole Dishonored thing. I mean, it's Arcane again, working on from one of their other studios. I think this was the one out of Texas who put this game together. I'm not entirely sure. But I personally am looking forward to it. I want to play it. I've actually so much so I'm actually considering pre-ordering it right now. Like I don't pre-order games unless I know that I'm going to buy it day one, even if it was bad. Like I normally don't pre-order stuff unless I know for sure I'm getting it. And I'm just looking forward to this, man. I'm excited. You guys there?
Yeah, I'm here. Apologies. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, and we'll continue the convo.
Oh, yeah, looks like we lost Brandon. 1 second. All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, just kind of fill up some of the dead space. Dead Space. Actually, that's a pretty good point. It actually kind of reminded me of Dead Space a little bit. One of the things about Prey in particular was I was looking at some of the promo art. You're actually going to be able to pick between which character, like if you want to be male or female in this one. And I looked at it. And I'm actually debating. I don't think it actually would change anything. I think it's just more of a aesthetic thing. But I don't know. I want to see a lot more from this game. I want to see a gameplay trailer. In particular, I want to see more of that. But I'm definitely surprised that they are launching in May. We got an announcement from May 5th, I think it's May 5th, May 5th, 2017, which is interesting because Bethesda's general strategy has been we launch a game in May and then have a game in November or October, late October, early November. And it's been really surprising because I really thought this one was going to be their late October game. I really thought it was going to be, and to find out it's not, it is, like I said before, extremely surprising. Which begs the question, what do they have coming out in November? I highly doubt it's going to be Quake, because right now Quake or Quake Champions is supposed to be a PC exclusive, which is great for the PC guys to have it exclusive. But at the same time, what are they going to put out there? One of the rumors floating around is about Starfield, which, for those of you that don't know, is basically this trademark rumor that's been floating around with Bethesda. And what happens in this particular one is that there's been this trademark called Starfield that Bethesda keeps renewing the trademark on, and everyone's like, "What is this for?" And they keep renew it, and it's supposed to be available for a couple of different things. One's like for a mobile app, and then one's for a traditional game. And so, if you look at kind of what the lineup of Bethesda's grouping is that they have 2 years where Fallout 4 has not been in development anymore. They moved on to the new project. And then after that, they moved on. You have Tango Softworks that put out Evil Within back in 2014. And we have not heard a single thing from that studio at all. And they are owned by Bethesda. So I want to see what they're going to put out. And they could be putting something out this year. I don't know what exactly. I don't think Evil Within was that big of a draw to have a sequel, per se. But the other question is, what about Wolfenstein? And Wolfenstein has not had a sequel yet. Well, unless you count the Old Blood. But like I said, I think it's going to be Starfield, which is going to be made by Bethesda Studios. They've turned around and done quick work before, but I know they've been excited about this one for a while.
Well, I can tell you this, man. That's first of all, that's big news for anybody that's listened to the show today. If you think about this rotation that they may create, you have your medieval fantasy adventure game, you have your post-apocalyptic, kind of futuristic, uh, RPG action RPG game, and then you have this Starfield title that more than likely will also follow in the footsteps of Skyrim and Fallout and be some sort of action RPG. Now, two of my favorite settings for any type of game is anything that has to do with futuristic scientific stuff or anything to do with fantasy. Those are my two favorite things of all time. And normally what I gravitate to. I really don't do well with modern stuff. It's like one of the reasons why I don't play Call of Duty is because I'm not a fan of military shooters. Don't get me wrong, love the multiplayers, but normally I won't even play the campaign. A campaign like Titanfall would interest me more than the campaign for Battlefield. That's just my taste. I can't really change that. But overall, I would be ecstatic for the opportunity to get a chance to play this new game from Bethesda. Knowing Bethesda's pedigree as an RPG maker, having them get into the realm of sci-fi, futuristic stars, star travel. Think about the worlds that they could build. Think about the places you could explore. Knowing how Bethesda does when it comes to, story. Finding treasure, getting items, modifications. I'm just like, when you think about that and all the possibilities that you can do with a game like that, I'm not saying it has to be Mass Effect. I'm not saying it has to be that, but just thinking of the possibilities of what it could be, to me, is amazing. And I would be super excited if they did go through with this route. You have those 3 games of rotation, dropping a little game here and there for, just to offset some things, or 2 games in a year, and you are good to go. Because I think after Starfield, you have your next Elder Scrolls, and then from there, your next Fallout, and then your next Starfield. And they can keep doing that over and over and over. They'll keep it fresh for a very long time.
Yeah, and the thing in particular about Starfield you got to keep in mind is that Bethesda Studios has not had a new IP to work with in quite a long time. They've been pretty much just Fallout and Skyrim, which they bought both those IPs. So they have not had the opportunity to really try something new and really put their creativity to the test. They've always been working with someone else's stuff. So, I mean, they've been really looking forward to this opportunity, and I am not surprised if they just knock it out of the park. So,
I'm not a fan of Prey. I like the original Prey, and I liked what they were going to do in part 2. The new Prey to me reminds me of Dead Space so much, and a little bit of Dishonored. Being able to kind of make yourself into objects to get certain places, or you have these other abilities, and then you look at the creepiness and the dark places of Dead Space, and it reminds me of those 2 titles. Not saying that it's not original, not saying that something has to be original to be amazing, but it takes 2 strong elements from 2 great games and tries to make it into one. And it's just weird to me. Now, I know a lot of people's going to pick this game up. I know it's going to look great. I know it's going to be amazing. But I just really hope that it does well. I don't want to see any games fail. I really hope it's successful, because I really would like the Prey franchise to turn into something big. And maybe eventually I'll be able to get it. But for me, I don't do scary. I don't do scary. So I'll probably be passing on that title, unfortunately.
like, it doesn't look like a horror game to me. It looks like it's that perfect medium of having horror elements, but not being a horror game. Like BioShock's a good example of striking that balance.
Yeah, I think it'll be some intensity there, but I don't think it's gonna have a lot of horror in the game per se.
Bro, anything that's a shadow that teleports is scary. If I can't find you, like if I can't see you in front of me to kill you, and I have to hunt for you, and it's creepy and it's dark, bro, I'm sweating and my heart is beating 1,000 beats per second. I don't know why. I'm like so like why horror games are so intense for me, survival horror games so intense for me. I'm not a fan of jump scares. And what's crazy is I can watch these movies all day. I can sit here and watch horror all day because to me, I'm not interacting in the game. I'm not trying to survive. I'm just watching the film. But being in the game, trying not to get killed, trying to figure out how to kill this thing before it kills me, it's crazy. And I know that once the initial horror happens, it passes, and you're like, okay, I gotta do this again with this person, and you do it again or whatever, and then it's like it's past. But just that first time, man, and then being aware of it's gonna happen again, I can't do it, bro. I can't. I just stick to my RPGs and my action adventure games and my shooters. I'm happy. It's one of those type of things, man. It's just funny stuff. But yeah, man, along those lines, it's a great slate of games that Bethesda is working on, and I'm really excited for what they possibly may produce. And just to talk about the pedigree of some other RPGs, Cyberpunk 2077 is another game that I look forward to. I just think about this game and the possibilities of playing in a setting where it's like Blade Runner. That's what I see when I see that game. I see Blade Runner 100%. Like, I gotta know what this game is about. And we have so little to go on other than this one trailer. My expectations are so high for this game because I'm not a fan of Witcher, though Witcher 3 looks amazing. I've been watching a lot of Witcher 3 trailers and a lot of people play Witcher 3, and it looks really good. And I'm actually gearing up to play it. So I'm really excited about playing it and getting into the game. But just based on the pedigree of CD Projekt Red, knowing that they produce high quality games, I'm excited for Cyberpunk 2077 because I don't think in this game you have to deal with what you would do in Witcher. You have traps, you have powers. I think it's more tech. I think it's more stealth. I think it's more obviously an open world set title, possibly. I don't want to just make it something that it's not, but
it is. It's open world. It will be
right?
a living world where you'll actually be able to run into other active players. So it's going to be amazing when it drops.
Yeah, like, didn't they get that grant from like the government of Poland?
Yeah,
to actually research seamless multiplayer or seamless co-op.
I'm hyped for this game so much, bro.
Dude, not just that. CD Projekt Red is really important in this industry, man. Like one of the things that got to me is there's actually a new studio floating around now. They're made from. It's called like what was it? Was it something special or something like that, or something strange?
Mm-hmm.
Or so it's something called like that, and it was it's basically the developers from it's portions of CD Projekt Red developers, some guys from IO Entertainment, for the guys who worked on Hitman.
Okay.
And then there's the group guys who did Dying Light. Is it Techland?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's those guys, and so they've actually partnered up, and they're actually working on a new game. I mean, that is a damn good pedigree.
Absolutely. I look forward to what they produce as well, man. There's a lot of offshoot studios. Man, this makes me want to talk about Microsoft at this point, but I'm going to hold off till we get towards the end because it's just like you see these developers going on to make these other studios, and that's how you know it's possible. It's possible to do. Why they don't do it, I don't know, but it's possible. But anyway, so with Prey looking the way it does, but that's the track record, the Starfield possible game that they are possibly working on, and then
it's either going to be Starfield or a new IP from Tango GameWorks. That's what I'm putting it on. I'm like,
I would hope it's Bethesda's new IP. Honestly.
Yeah,
I would really hope that it is a new Bethesda IP. I mean, listen, Fallout 4 is great. I know you love the game and all, but let's get
Watch
some.
What you say very carefully,
bro. I don't care about yo. You ever seen Reverend X? Has anybody ever seen Reverend X on YouTube before?
Nah.
Oh my god, you gotta look it up. Look it up. It's so funny. I was gonna say something now I can't say it because the joke won't matter, but you gotta check it out. It's hilarious. But yeah, I don't care what you think, bro. I don't. Fallout 4. I don't. Fallout's done. Move on from Fallout 4. It's time to get some new IPs out here. You and your Fallout. So listen, man. Microsoft obviously has been running into some issues as of late. They seem to be trying to right the ship and get back on the ball. You know, we had the white paper leak, we had the cancellation of Scalebound. It's, you know, the the lineup is looking kind of sparse at this point. A lot of Xbox fans are not happy with the direction that Microsoft is going. Some are worried, some are confused. You have the haters who don't dislike Xbox, who want to see them fail, pouncing on it like a injured animal in the jungle. They are ready and they are biting and just trying to tear it apart. And Microsoft is trying to clean their wounds and get up and get back into the fray. Phil Spencer came out and talked about Scorpio, because obviously people were concerned about Scorpio, and they asked him, Phil, please tell me that Scorpio will do 4K games. And he said, yes, it will do 4K games. You know, I don't think they've ever said that it wouldn't do 4K games. I think people thought Scorpio was going to do 100% 4K games, and Microsoft never came out and said that at all. They've never said that.
They said they're going to provide enough power for the games at current fidelity to run at 4K.
Correct. Exactly. And it's up to the developers to use the power how they want. However, Microsoft games themselves will be 4K, and that's what they're shooting for. 4K, 60 frames per second, uncompromised on their own games. Third party, they can't control third party. If a third party developer wants to make a game, they can make a game and just use whatever power is available. If they want to go for better textures and better effects, they can, and upscale from 1080 to 4K. They have the tech in the console to do it. I think that's why people were upset. And shout out to the Double XP team. Right now, they're out in Texas getting ready for PAX South. Very proud of that team and being able to have a company that we've built here at TIC to send people as correspondents to get news for our listeners and for our readers on TICGN.com. And they will be reporting on everything at PAX South, new games, Nintendo Switch, what you can expect from it. So definitely keep an eye on TICGN tomorrow. A lot of content, a lot of interviews will be popping up on the website. And that's great to know, and glad that we have media, official media, coming out of our website going to PAX. But yesterday they had a great show. They talked about some things, and Nicodemus, who is our PlayStation head, and also will be the leader of our Trophy Life podcast, was really upset because he felt like Xbox fans were hypocritical, and he felt we were hypocritical because everybody got on PlayStation 4 Pro because of checkerboard rendering, and he felt like if the Xbox Scorpio was going to do it, should the Xbox fan base like apologize or own up to it or whatever. And it's just funny to me because I wasn't on the show. I was in the chat. But I'm like, for what? You know what I'm saying? What is there to apologize for? No one complained or said anything about when people looked at Quantum Break and ripped it apart. It doesn't matter if the way it's done is different. It was the same thing. They felt that they can hit 720p by putting two 720p images together to make a 1080p image come out at the end. And Sony feels like they could take 1080p images and put it together to make a 4K image in the end. At the end of the day, the game looked amazing, and the games on PS4 Pro look amazing. But he wanted some type of an apology. And I'm saying to myself, I don't know for what. The biggest difference I think that will happen with PS4 Pro and Xbox Scorpio is that for the games that the Pro can't hit, you upscale. I think with Scorpio, it's just an option. You can do 4K if you want. The power is there, but if you don't want to, then you can do the checkerboard or the sparse rendering or whatever it is that they want to do. I think that's really the two biggest differences between those two consoles. So all we can do is wait for more information and hope that Microsoft shows Scorpio much, much earlier than intended.
Yeah, I think.
What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think part of it, the issue back when the Pro reveal was happening, it was they were calling it 4K, but then it came out fairly quickly that these are upscaled. This is not like this is not native 4K. I think part of that was timing, where they were calling it 4K and it wasn't. And then if I remember correctly, it was like we found out about it like within hours after the Pro reveal. It was upscaled, and it was like okay, and people were going at it about it then. And I don't know. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that many games that are running native 4K on the Pro.
Yeah,
a lot of them seem to be upscaled. And I know a couple of them are. I think it was Uncharted 4 is doing it, right?
Yeah, I think there's a
Uncharted
handful
4,
of games.
there's a good portion of games.
Yeah, there's
What's the
probably
name was just
like 10 or so. 10 to 15 probably.
10 or 15. Yeah. But it's
Horizon Zero
not,
Dawn
it's not
is
anywhere
that as well.
close to a majority are running native.
But I mean, look, if the games look amazing, that's what matters. You know, I think what Xbox fans, and listen, you already know we're not zealots here at Tick, but we know that the hardcore Xbox fans, it's just a revenge thing. It's just something that goes back and forth.
That's all it is.
That's really all it is. You know, for 3 years, the Xbox fans have been getting, pounded on, pause, because they have, they haven't had it. The Xbox has been getting beat Foundry tests when it comes to all their games, hitting 900p. Well, not all their games, excuse me, but a good portion of the big AAA titles hitting either 900p or 720p or 792p in comparison to the PlayStation 4, which is either 900p or 1080p. And it's significant in that little 0.5, that little 30% power or 40% power that everyone was claiming really just goes to the resolution. And in some instances, Grand Theft Auto BO1, a little bit more grass, kind of like what 360 did back in the day. But for the most part, man, it's not something where the games are so significantly different that you notice immediately the difference. And the guys over at Microsoft are saying you're going to notice a difference. Overall, they've had the same, I won't say the same GPUs, but they've had opposites on both sides. Xbox's CPU was slightly more powerful because of the op clock than the PS4, while the GPU for the PS4 was slightly more powerful for over the Xbox One CPU, as well as the extra flops of power. Well, not really flops, but the extra points of power in teraflops. But with Scorpio, we're talking about a whole teraflop more power, 4 more gigs of RAM, faster throughput on the CPU, almost 100 points faster. Like, there's a big significant difference between the two. Now, I'm not saying that what you put on a Pro is going to be bad. I think it's going to look amazing. I have a Pro, and looking at it in 4K, and just looking at the dashboard in 4K, amazing. It's clean. It's very clean. I have to admit, it looks really good. But I just think Scorpio is just going to be a powerhouse. I really do. And I think a lot of people will be surprised once they see what Microsoft puts out and forget all about what Digital Foundry was speculating on.
Yeah.
I think power is a great talking point, and it matters to a handful of people. But power does not change the difference in the game. You know what I mean? That doesn't change your enjoyment of the game. If running The Witcher 3 at 4K is going to make a big difference, I mean, that wasn't going to make it any different from being a game of the year, you know what I mean, and being held in so high regard to so many players, or Fallout, just because it runs in 4K. Like, the game has to be good. Like, if your game is trash, it's going to be trash in 4K regardless, you know what I mean?
Right,
so,
of course.
Yeah.
If there's no games, it's not going to make a difference. As long as there's quality games, to me, it doesn't matter if it's checkerboard or native or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? If the game isn't good, then it won't make a difference.
Mm.
I 100% agree with you. The only thing I would say is that I think it makes a difference to the consumer, or at least the hardcore consumer, when you have a game like, let's say, for example, Battlefield. Battlefield comes out on the Wii U, Xbox One, and PS4. And you have all 3 systems. You don't sit there and say, I'm going to buy the game for Wii U. No one does that.
You don't buy it for Wii U because of the install base. But if
you don't buy it for Wii U because it's just a weaker console.
No.
If it's a multiplayer game, you're going to go where the community is.
You go where the community is, regardless. It doesn't matter about the power at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the whole thing about Call of Duty, I mean that's really the big thing because Activision forced that hand to go. Like they moved over to the more popular console. They moved over to PlayStation, and they moved over there. And as a result, all the competitive people play on PlayStation now.
Yeah,
Bro,
I mean,
if you sit here and
gotta
tell
think,
me that
like when 360, when the PS4 and the Xbox One came out, people still bought Call
right,
of Duty on the 360. Like power wasn't a big thing to them, is what I'm
it
saying. Like
was every game, all the third-party games ran better on 360. That was the
no,
point.
but I'm talking about from PS3 to PS4 and Xbox 360 to Xbox One. People still bought the game on 360 and PS3. That's what I'm saying. Like people will go where the community is. It's not always about like, oh, the game runs better. Yes, it's going to run better on PS4 and Xbox One, but people still bought the game on Xbox 360 and PS3.
Yeah, because that's because the base was still there. As the
Exactly.
base moved on to better, but that's because the base was there. As they moved on to better hardware, people started to buy more games for PS4 and buying more third-party games for PS4 because the hardware just was better. It ran better. I can't sit here.
With that.
It has
I can't
nothing
agree
to do
with you
with
guys on
that.
that. I can't agree with you guys on that. I can't
Look
agree
what
with you.
happened with Call of Duty back when Ghosts and maybe not Ghosts, but not Infinite War, Advanced Warfare, whatever damn warfare we're on now. When Advanced Warfare was coming out and it was still partnered with Xbox, everybody was playing on Xbox. Doesn't matter. It was because Activision had that control over the community. If they say you're getting DLC early, they're getting DLC early, and everyone's going to get it on there. Like that. Call of Duty is one of those weird franchises where the power ultimately doesn't matter. If base gameplay is good, people are going to play
I'm
it.
talking about third party in general. I would just use the Call of Duty as an example. I'm just saying, in my opinion, if you have all three consoles, you can't sit up here and tell me that you're going to buy the game for the weakest console because X amount of people is here. You're going to buy the game. You're going to spend $60 on the game. If you have a console and it's the weakest one, you have all three. You don't spend $60 when they're all the same price on the worst version of that game. No one does that.
Many people don't care about that. That's what I'm saying. Many people do not care about that. I'm telling you.
It's the PS2 thing, man. Like, what was it? The gifts of the GameCube and the original Xbox was powerful than the PS2.
That's
right?
different. No, that's different. That doesn't count. And I'll tell you why it doesn't count. No, I'm dead serious. You think I'm joking, but I'm telling you the exact reason why it doesn't count. For a whole entire year, PlayStation 2 was alone. Dreamcast died, and for a whole year, in 2000, PlayStation locked up every single third-party game you could think of. It was really the only console on the market. Dreamcast was not getting new games like that because that console was phasing out. Once Xbox and GameCube came out, PlayStation has such a dominant base, it didn't matter. And then also at the same time, Xbox overall just wasn't appealing. It was big as hell. The controller was big as hell. It had no it didn't have a ton of Japanese games. And all the best games were on PS2 at the same time. All the Final Fantasies, when Japan was big, was on there. Every sports game was on there. Even though everything looked better on Xbox, everything was on PS2, and really that's where the games were, and that's when it mattered, and social media wasn't relevant. Those things have changed.
I'm telling
tremendously.
You, man, social media plays only a small part of it. The general consumer does not care about that stuff. So I'm telling you, if let's just say the Wii U right now basically got all the same games, you know what I mean, that these consoles got right now, there will still be people who bought those games on the Wii U because that's the system that they chose to buy the game on. They could care less about the PS4's power or the Xbox One's power or Scorpio's power or whatever the case is. They chose to buy that system, and that's where they'll play the game at. I'm telling you, like if the Switch, let's just say when the Switch comes out, if it gets the same third-party games, I guarantee you people would buy games on the Switch over the other console.
I think it depends on the game, but I can see that.
I don't know. I disagree. I'll just have to disagree there. I don't see it happening. It's just there's too much information out there. It really is. And like seriously, the generation is just different. People are just different. You have all these analysts out here. Everything is just different. It's not the same. And people do look at getting the best for their money. Now, don't get me wrong. As a consumer, yes, I get that. Resolution didn't matter because a lot of people don't know about that. But the hardcore base does. And when the hardcore base goes and tells their friends, or they sell that product to somebody who don't know, don't get that console. Why get that? That console's whack. It's weak. Get this one. It's much more powerful. They cost the same. That's what happens. You get people
I know
trying to sell you PS4 all the time. That's what I'm saying. So
that definitely happens. But let's look at the numbers in the U.S., right? How much of a difference in console sales has it been between PS4 and Xbox One lately? It hasn't really been a difference, a few 100,000. So power doesn't matter. People go where the games are at.
I don't know. I don't see no dents. I don't see Microsoft making no dents.
I mean, it ain't gonna make no dents worldwide. So, but look at the numbers every month. You know what I mean? The numbers are basically neck and neck for PS4 and Xbox One.
I get it. It's close. It is close, but still, I still think power matters. To sit here and say power doesn't matter, I can't agree with that. I think power matters.
Why is nobody buying a PS4 Pro?
That's because it's $400 when you can get cheaper consoles that play the same games. And also, another thing is it's not a lot of games right now that's running in 4K or that's significantly different. Like when Spider-Man comes out for PS4 Pro, bro, that game looks amazing on PS4 Pro. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually glad I have a PS4 Pro because I get a chance to play Spider-Man now. But other than that, when you look at most of the other games, and at one point, some of the games didn't even run better on the Pro over the PS4. PS4 was running some games better than the Pro just because of the simple fact they had the whole upscaling, downscaling issue. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors into that, but it's also expensive. It's $400. Most people saw the holiday sales. You can get a PlayStation for $250 and it came with Uncharted 4. The Pro came with nothing. It was just the Pro with more power and 4K. And there's not a lot of 4K TVs out there just yet, but it's happening. I'm just saying, man, I just think that over time, the Pro will pick up in sales. Scorpio eventually will pick up in sales because I know a lot of Xbox fans are going to pick it up because they're tired of the rhetoric of the Xbox One being weak. They're going to hop on that, at least the hardcore is. And eventually those consoles will take over and they'll be the main consoles over the PS4 and the Xbox One. I just see it that way. And third parties try to get the best out of the games by working with the most powerful tech. So it'll be PC, Xbox One Scorpio, PS4 Pro, PS4, Xbox One, and then Switch. That's how it's going to flow. And if you got all three consoles, more than likely you're going to buy the game that is going to be the best version of the game. It has the best frames, the most stable frame rate, no screen tear, the best resolution. You're going to try to get that game, spend your hard-earned money on that game to get the best version. I don't see why anybody would go downgrade. You know what I'm saying? The difference between PS4 and Xbox One isn't significant enough because it really, and that's the point, it's not significant enough to where you say, I'm going to get a PS4 because these games are that bad. It's not that significant. But once you start going up PS4 Pro or Xbox One Scorpio, and then you start doing that, then you really have to say, hey, I'm going to get it for the Scorpio or I'm going to get it for the Pro because the jump is that significant. And as people get better with the hardware, it'll really play a bigger factor, in my opinion.
We shall see.
All right. So we're going to move forward. That was a great discussion. We're going to move forward and talk about what dead Microsoft IP we want Microsoft to bring back. Now, I had a fan or a listener, shall I say, also and a fan, obviously. You wouldn't be here if you weren't fans of Tick. Asked me that question the other day on Super Pod Shots. And I brought up a few titles, which I won't repeat here because this is a new show and we may have a new base. But what dead IP do you think Microsoft should bring back, or what dead IP do you want them to bring back? Let's start with you, B.
And I've been saying this for forever, man. Bring Banjo back. They teased it a bunch of times, and they kind of have that void of kind of having like that third person action action adventure game. And I think it's a fan favorite. A lot of people have been asking about it. They definitely should bring Banjo back. I know Voodoo Vince is like on the horizon, and I don't know how well that is loved as far as the franchise goes, but a lot of people love Banjo. A lot of people love rare games, and I think Banjo would be a nice return for him to bring back.
Anchor?
Man, mine's gonna be Blinks the Cat, man. I was like,
What is up with
Man.
you and Blinks?
oh my god, man! Just for whatever. Wait, I'm gonna tell you this is a true story. When I was a kid, when I was growing up, we weren't allowed to have video games, and one of the things that ended up happening is we would go to Kmart every once in a while, and they used to have those. Remember those books, those catalog books you could get from the store, and they would have like the list of games that were coming out or were already out, and they labeled out by systems, and they would have like a short description and a couple like screenshots and that kind of stuff on there. Oh my god, I had one of those, and Blinks the Cat was in that book. And just for whatever reason, I just clicked onto it. I was like, I love the design of this this character. I was really getting into it. And so I remember I had my cousin who had an original Xbox. I only got to see him maybe once every couple of years, and he had that game as well as what's the game Fusion Frenzy. And, like we used to play Fusion Frenzy a lot, but specifically Blinks the Cat, I was just totally enamored with it. Just love the design. I want to see that back.
It's sad because they let the trademark for that lapse and go.
Yeah.
They let it go. Like the IP pretty much is dead. And it was cool because Blinks played with time. I bought that game. I bought a few games. I remember one Christmas, I bought Blinks the Cat, Grab by the Ghoulies, and what was it? Grab by the Ghoulies, Blinks the Cat, and I think Destroy All Humans for my sister. She had an Xbox. I had a PS2 and a GameCube. And I bought that for her. You know, Grab by the Ghoulies was cool. She tried playing it, but Blinks the Cat was dope because you could rewind. He had the vacuum. You could suck enemies up. You could shoot them out as, you know, projectiles. It was a really cool game, but for some reason, it just didn't take off. A lot of Xbox titles, honestly, just didn't take off. They were really good games. I know the Xbox fan base really enjoyed a lot of the original Xbox titles, but they're not as big as most people make them out to be. Like, honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like Mech Assault is a big title for the Xbox base, and you know, Crimson Skies is another one, and that's my pick. Crimson Skies. I loved Crimson Skies. I was so addicted to that game. It was amazing. Different ships. It was pretty much. It was almost like Mario Kart Battle Arena, where there were drops on the field that you could pick up that gave you abilities. You know, firepower, electricity, boosting speed. But what was really cool was the map design. You can go into caverns. You can go into caves. You can fly over buildings. You can get low. You could try to dodge people. It was just an amazing game, and you don't get dogfighting games like that. And Crimson Skies was unique because it had all these abilities and all these powers. So I was really impressed with it, man. And I really loved the game a lot. And Future Frenzy, another title I just had so much fun with my family, with, you know, my girl, my two sisters, my brother. We would sit there, just play 4-player co-op for hours, punching each other, taking orbs, putting in an hour slot. You had the sumo ball trying to knock people off. You had the little go-karts where you try to blow people up. Like, it was great. All those little mini games were really, really fun. And I think they should bring that back as some type of maybe online game. Only $20 or something like that, with just a bunch of mini games. It kind of make it like a Mario Party or something like that. And honestly, they can even use the you know, what is that Rare game? The Connect game from Rare for Xbox One.
Is it Connect Sports?
Connect Sports Rivals. You could even use the avatars from Connect Sports Rivals, but in third person, instead of using your actual body with the Connect, but just use those avatars as the people in the game to represent you. I really honestly would be amazed if Microsoft was allowed to bring that game back and maybe hand it off to Rare to make something, instead of using Connect, actually just make a controller-based game. Would be great. It'd be a great party game and just something to pick up and play with your friends. You know, 8 people on screen, I think would be really cool. And Crimson Skies too, you know. So that would be really great if they were able to do that. Definitely, without question. Yeah, man. So, you know, it's gonna be crazy. You know, we're trying to head back to E3 this year. I'm excited to go. Congratulations to B Money 101. His wife is pregnant. He will be a new father for the 500th time. And and that would be close to E3 sometime in May. So definitely shout my man out on Twitter when you get an opportunity and congratulate him and wish him well, and make sure that he has a healthy baby boy or girl. Of course, Anchorman will not be attending E3 this year. Anchorman's got to make bread. He's got bills.
Someone's got to make that money.
That's right, man.
That's right. He can't keep getting on the pole all day, and it's not a good look as well. So we definitely got to get him, make sure he's working. But we'll have a new team at E3 this year, and hopefully we're able to report some great news as we normally do. I'm going to go ahead and do a Q&A because we're ending the show kind of early. There's only a couple minutes left. We'll do like 10 minutes on questions and then end the show. Just make sure you tune in to TICGN tomorrow. We got the big PAX blowout coming from our team over at PAX. Fame Entertainment is over there. Nicodemus is over there. They're actually hanging out with Mamacita. If you listen to the Gamer Gals podcast, or you know who Mamacita is over on Twitter, they're hanging out with her as well as a few other guys from Twitter over at PAX in Texas, PAX South. So big things that's happening over there for that team, and I'm excited to bring that news to you guys as well. And we may have a surprise guest coming on the show, hopefully sometime this millennium. It's been a struggle trying to get this one person to commit to something, but hopefully they will lock in a date and we can get them on the show. So again, I want to thank everybody for stopping in tonight. Very grateful for all the support as always. 32 people in the chat right now, so please give us a thumbs up. Be very grateful and very supportive if you were able to do that. We greatly appreciate it. And go ahead and ask your questions. We'll try to answer your questions and try to get out of here before it gets too late, as we know some people have things to do in the morning. Let's see here. So here's an interesting conversation. File Davikin says, if they bring Conquer back, they can't hold the game back. All I'm saying is make a true Conquer game. And I think what he means in that is don't censor the game. Make it a true adult Conquer game, just like 64 did. I think the problem with that is your boss is Phil Spencer. Honestly, that's the only issue I may see with it. And Phil is a very clean-cut person. You know, Phil doesn't curse. I don't know if he's overly religious or anything like that. That I've never heard of, but I know Phil is
just unbecoming.
Yeah, he's very PC. Yeah, he's a very family-orientated person. So them coming out with a very raunchy game like Conquer and then having that animated cartoon platformer character on the front, you know, parents are idiots. Parents will buy that game and give it to their kid, and Conquer will come on like, what the and all this beep beep. They'll lose their mind. They'll go back to GameStop and Best Buy and be, who put this game on? Microsoft reputation would just drop. It would be a disaster. Parents do not read no labels. They don't read mature. All they see is some type of cartoon thing on the front, and they'll just buy it. Like, dead serious. Like, they don't even care. They don't care nothing about these games. They just know their kid wants Conquer. The only game parents won't buy is Grand Theft Auto, because they know about Grand Theft Auto. But you put something out there like as mature as Conquer, it'd be a disaster.
Yeah, the thing is, like, when it came out the first time, I mean, it was a joke. Like, because no one was expecting that kind of situation. But now I don't think the joke could go over quite well or as well for most.
Yeah, it's too much other crazy stuff going on in the world right now to have a true Conquer, man, and have these kids, you know, running out there picking it up. So I don't know if we see that anytime soon.
It would be great though. Don't get me wrong, it would be. I just don't see it. I think they'll have comedy. I think it'll be borderline funny, but I don't know if they'll go full blown Conquer. It won't be. Yeah, because you know, I think they'll put humor in it, but it won't be funny. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it'll be funny, but it won't be funny. Like, that's cute, but you won't laugh. Like, you get it, but you won't laugh. Like, oh, that's cool. And you keep playing the game because the game is fun. I don't know if they can make it funny without Conquer being as raunchy and raw as he is. That's what makes the game appealing. So, we'll have to see how that pans out.
The one thing we can look at with that though is the success of South Park. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they could look at those numbers and see that there's some success there and maybe take a look.
That is true. That is true. And we've all grown up on South Park, and we all know what South Park's about. So that is absolutely true. Kobe Reed asks, what's the new game Conan Exiles about? Okay, so I'm excited about Conan Exiles. I spoke about this briefly, but I'll try to go into depth about the game very quickly. So if you've ever played Ark, it's a survival game. What happens is in this world of, I'm about to say Hyrule. It's not Hyrule.
Hyrule.
No, it's I forget the name of it. Something with the H. Conan is a warrior, and he's walking by, and you are an exiled character hanging on a cross. You get cut down, and you have to survive in the world. Like Ark, if you ever play Ark, which is the Dino survival game, you have to build these villages and stuff like that and survive. Water, food, shelter, whatever. The whole game is based on PvP though. But what's really cool is that there are NPCs in the world. There is a story and there's different villages you can go to. And what's cool is that if you run into somebody who is a person who has a craft, whether it is a warrior, whether it is a blacksmith or somebody that's good at architecture, you can beat the crap out of that person, hogtie them, drag them back to your base, put them on something called the Wheel of Pain, and torture them until they break and become your slave. Once they break and become your slave, they then become your blacksmith. They then become your villagers. And you continue to build your village up and your kingdom up. And you continue to kidnap people with different skill sets until you have a livable, working kingdom. And what's really cool is that there are heroes in the world that you can actually defeat and kidnap as well. So when you sign off line, when an enemy or a person, because the whole world is based in PvP, if a person comes to your castle or your village or whatever, the hero that you sign now becomes your general and comes out to do battle with these enemies. You can have archers, you can have sword fighters. If you collect enough of them, you can literally have your own army defend your base without you ever being online, because the world is persistent. And one of the cool things is that there are gods in the world as well, and you're able to control them at some point. And what happens is when you do that, it makes you aware on the whole entire map, the whole map. But you're controlling a god. If you can get to anyone's base before the person kills your body, because you're controlling the god, you could destroy a person's base in a second. Kick it down, knock it down. We're talking about giant King Kong like statues, King Kong like anaconda snakes. Like it's crazy. It's really dope, and it looks really, really fun. So that's what Conan Exiles is about. And I'm excited for it.
It solves the problem that Ark has, in that when you're offline in Ark, you are so vulnerable, and no matter what you build, it can be destroyed so quickly if they wanted to.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely need to have a good team that's able to build something very quickly and defend your base, especially in PvP. PvP is brutal. I got beat up the other day and robbed. I was so upset. I was so mad, bro. I felt violated. It was crazy. Fal Davikin says, are there any games that you guys would like to see built up from the ground up for Scorpio?
New IPs, or I assume you didn't want it as a cheap answer like that.
Pretty much. Duh. Any games you could think of?
The big thing, at least with the supposed launch lineup, you got to have a breadth of titles. We know the new Forza game is going to come, but we know there's going to be another Forza. We know there's going to be Crackdown, but there's got to be a game that kind of showcases the maybe not graphical power as much as it is a completely smooth experience. If you look at how Microsoft releases consoles, they always have the game that's the graphical showcase, and most of the time it ends up being Forza, which is basically, oh, look how realistic it is, look how nice it is. And now on the other hand, you have two other titles. You have one title that shows off the sheer horsepower, and then you have another title that shows off like the stream finesse style of it. With the Xbox One, you had Forza, and then you had the Dead Rising 3 being the workhorse. You see how many zombies are on screen, how crazy it can get. And then you had Rise, which showed off how beautiful the Xbox One could render something. And they did this back on the 360 as well. They do this fairly frequently. But the real thing is they need a game that kind of fills the role of Rise for the lineup. Right. Just something where you could see, all right, that's where my money's going. It's like it has to be maybe not night and day, but a clear difference, even to people not watching on 4K TVs.
I think they could probably do that if the rumored Perfect Dark like reimagining is happening, because I think they could probably implement like a day and night cycle with that, and then really just show off the particle effects. I think Crackdown will be like a showcase title as well, but I think it's slightly harder to do it as far as like what the characters look like, since they're more of like a character, more cartoon character style. I think if they reimagine Perfect Dark and make Joanna Dark more of a realistic character where you can actually see her face and facial expressions and things like that, they could really show it off, if that is the case.
Yeah, I definitely hope so. For me, I just wanted to make RPG, a Western RPG similar to Mass Effect, Knights of the Old Republic, or Skyrim. I don't care which one. I really don't. I just want them to make a new IP like that. And maybe even some drop-in co-op with one person, not 4 people. But I think that would be amazing if they were able to ever create that. Fable should have been that game, but it wasn't. Maybe they'll bring back Fable and we'll get that Western RPG that we all wanted. Smart Man Salai, I think that's what it says. I don't know, but I'll just call him Smart. Smart says, after seeing the success or lack of success of the PSVR, how much do you think it affects Xbox plans for VR? I don't think it affects their plans at all, honestly. I think it's very smart of them not to make a VR device, so they won't be in the same position that Sony is in currently, with either not having enough supply for people or just having underwhelming sales because it's not taking off the way they expected it to take off or other people expected it to take off. So I think it was smart. I think Microsoft learned their lesson from Kinect. Even though I like Kinect, I think they learned their lesson from Kinect and allow third parties to run on their hardware first while they work on HoloLens and try to get that thing running for consumers.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's smart for them to let the third parties do their thing, let them waste all the money on the R&D and put the product out there and hope that it sells, and not really waste the money on it. As long as they have the platform that it can actually run it, then that's all you really need. Let somebody else sell the product. People still got to buy the games on their platform, so they'll get the revenue from that.
Right.
Yeah.
Victor Alistine says, I heard about a game called HP North. Do you have any info on this?
What's
don't.
It called?
HP North.
Yeah, I just tried to Google it. I didn't see anything pop up.
I keep thinking of the Twitter user, one of our fans.
Yeah, I know. I thought Twitter user as well. I have no idea. Now I haven't heard that game. Sorry, bro. Let's see. We're coming up. We're finishing up. Last Side Ninja asks Microsoft's 2018 lineup predictions. That's hard, bro. 2018? I don't know. Forza, Halo 6, definitely.
Yes, Forza Horizon 3, 4.
No, Forza Horizon 4.
Whatever.
Man, let's hope not, man.
I really
Forza Horizon 4, Halo 6, God forbid Below. Below don't come out this year, I swear to God, bro.
And if Below and Cuphead don't come out this year, I'm not buying them ever again. I'm going to go to the studio and be like, what the hell?
I honestly don't know. I have no idea what Microsoft was working on until we get a chance to see what they show off at E3. This one is actually pretty hard to predict this time. It really is. But I am excited for E3. As Phil stated, that these are games that we have never played before. There is no Halo, no Gears, so I'm excited to see what they show off at E3. I hope it blows our minds. All right. Coming up on the last couple of questions, File Davikin asks, how big do you think the Scorpio is going to be? Do you think it's going to be bigger or smaller than the Xbox One S? I'm talking about the size of the box. It's going to be bigger.
Bigger.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be bigger.
It's definitely going to be bigger. Absolutely. It's going to have new tech in it. It's going to be powerful. You're talking about 4K. It needs the room. It needs the space to get that heat out. It's definitely going to be bigger. Anytime there's new technology, it's always big. It's when technology is old that it shrinks because it's just easier to fit into a smaller die. So it's definitely going to be much larger than maybe larger than the actual Xbox One. Possibly. You think about the size of that fan in the Xbox, they might put a propeller. They might put a propeller in the Xbox Scorpio based on some of the things we've been hearing. Okay, so Elon Beck says, name old games you want by genre, old or remakes or new IPs by genre. I'll be honest with you, man. Well, for me, it's really only like a handful, like a select handful of games that I truly want to come back. They're mostly RPGs. That's just the fact. It's mostly RPGs. But I will say this. Chrono Trigger is number one. I need a new Chrono Trigger, like, I don't know. I don't want to say something stupid, but I need a new Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is number one on my list. Number two on my list, Knights of the Old Republic. If I don't get a Knights of the Old Republic or some type of Star Wars games like Knights of the Old Republic, not that Old Republic MMO crap, like a true Knights of the Old Republic or some type of Star Wars game built like it with new graphics, new interior, just overall great story. Oh my God, I would be so excited for it. And Splinter Cell. I would like a really true stealth action Splinter Cell. Bring those 3 games back, and I'm happy. We're good to go.
Go ahead, Anchor. What do you want to come back?
It's a tough one, man. I don't know which ones to bring back. At least not on the spot. I mean, there's a lot of good games out there. I mean, they could. I don't know, come back to me in a minute. I'm gonna think about this.
Right. So if we're gonna go by genres, sports first off, I want NBA Street, like the old NBA Street Volume 2. I want that to come back. I think that was like a dope game. I think EA Sports is slipping, not bringing back their big franchises. You know, the
big series.
Yeah, the big series. Like they definitely are tripping, not bringing that back. Definitely would love 2K football to return at some point in my lifetime.
God, I wish.
As far as JRPGs, definitely want Final Fantasy Tactics to return. And a regular RPG, definitely want Jade Empire. Hopefully BioWare can stop playing with my emotions. And after Mass Effect releases, Jade Empire is like next on the table. And that's really about it. I mean, Splinter Cell would be nice. I would love to see another like fight night because we have like no boxing games this gen. So fight night would be dope. But that's really about it, man. And SOCOM, I gotta have SOCOM back. I love tactical shooters. So SOCOM was just one of those games where we really got busy. I got Rainbow Six, but definitely would love to have SOCOM back.
Man, you're making me think about NFL 2K5, bro. Oh my God. I would love for 2K to get back in it. You know what other games though? Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah, that's dope.
I would love for Legend of Dragoon to come back. NFL Blitz.
Yeah, Blitz was good too.
Back in the day. Blitz was really good. And I think about that big series where they had NFL Street, NBA Street, stuff like that. You know what? See, the problem of bringing back something like, what is it called? What is the Def Jam game called?
Oh, Fight for New York, and you talking about that one?
Yeah. The problem with that is that the rappers aren't real enough. They're not hardcore enough nowadays to remake that game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Who we gonna
Yeah,
get in that game, bro?
yeah, everybody
So
wearing
it's like you
dresses
can't.
and tight jeans and
Yeah, like come on, you got dudes singing on fatalities. Like, come on, bro. It ain't gonna work, son. Man,
I
but
think
yeah, definitely.
I think the one I would have, I thought of at least one sports game. It would have to be NFL Street.
yeah.
That's the
NFL
only
Street,
sports
yeah.
game I ever played seriously. Like I really don't play sports games that much, but that was the one where I would pick it up consistently. I'd play it. I used to play it every Christmas Eve when I was in high school. Like
Yeah.
I would go play it Christmas Eve and then play it like into the New Year's, and then I actually would lose interest and then sell it and then buy it again same time next year. And so I like that one a lot. For me, like a lot of this other stuff, like all I could think of was maybe a New Vegas remaster.
You in this Fallout, bro? No,
I mean,
stop.
I'm really not
Bro.
interested in having a lot of these older titles coming over.
You're not interested in no games that don't start with F. That's what you're not interested in.
No, I mean you gotta understand. Like for me, I'm just so enamored with the new stuff coming out. Like I'm really into it. Like
some great stuff coming out.
Like it's a slow burn. This generation really is a slow burn. Like there's a lot of things like that needs to be worked on, but I don't know. It's one of those things, man. I'm looking at these little developers or something like that. Like one of these this company called like Focus Home Interactive.
Yeah, Focus is the shit, man.
Like they make so many small games. I'm playing Sticks right now too. I'm just like, they make so many games that just go completely under the radar, and they're high quality stuff. I mean, like they're that perfect AA range, and it hits all the old gaming vibes I would want to see. So I really have no urge to play the older stuff right now. Like there's so much cool stuff coming out of these other studios, and I want to see them get support. And I look at things like, okay, Sniper Elite 4 is coming out next month. Styx Shards of Darkness is coming out the month after that. I mean, they have a Call of Cthulhu's getting a game. There's going to be a real vampire game.
Yes, that vampire game by Don't
Same studio is making a werewolf game, an actual werewolf.
Really?
Like they are actually sitting here and doing all these games I've been wanting for years, and like I said, I don't feel the need to go play the old stuff right now. And I don't really, like I said before, the only things I would want would be maybe NFL Street and a Fallout New Vegas remaster. That's pretty much it. And the only reason, if I can't get a new Obsidian made Fallout, like I'll settle for a remaster of New Vegas because New Vegas was awesome.
Yeah,
but that's it. I can't honestly sit here and say, oh, I want all the stuff from the old glory days. There's so much new stuff on the horizon.
So Anchor, give us three games that are gonna come out of nowhere that people should be looking at this year.
Looking at this year, there's ones I'm excited for, which no one's gonna care and no one's gonna buy anyway.
Facts. Facts. It better not be Fallout DLC or anything Fallout.
No, I'm not even gonna mention anything Fallout. I'm looking forward to Vampire in particular. Because I've been so pissed off with interpretation of vampires in popular media because they completely butcher what the original Bram Stoker intention was. And this one looks to be going back to that. It's going back to, all right, you have the limitations of a vampire, but you also have the advantages of one. You're able to do low-level hypnotism. You're able to do a lot of stuff, but you're also limited. You can't go into other people's houses without permission. Like, that's a big thing for me, and I'm really excited about that from a lore perspective. What else is there? Well, there's Prey. I'm looking forward. I think Prey will be a bigger success than anyone is giving it credit. At the same time, Styx Shards of Darkness. I'm playing through the first one. This game is so much fun because it's a harder stealth game. It looks more simplistic, but it's actually harder than Dishonored because you get seen once. It is so easy to die. Dishonored is pretty much they see you one time, you can kill all of them and restart. Nah, this one, you get caught, you either need to kill them within 2 seconds or you're dead.
Gotcha.
It is a pain.
I'm gonna have to try that game definitely. Yeah, so we're gonna answer 2 more questions, and we're gonna go ahead and end the show. It's getting late out here. It's almost hitting the midnight hour. We're burning that oil. But very quickly, speaking of vampires, you know what they should bring back? Soul Reaver and Blood Omen. Those were 2 amazing vampire demon type game crossovers that I thought was an amazing series, and they should really, Eidos, I think at the time, made that game. If they still own the franchise, they should definitely think about rebooting the Wrath of Cain, Blood Omen, and the Soul Reaver franchises. Amazing series. Amazing series. All right, so our last 2 questions will be from Smart Man. When do you think we will see Grand Theft Auto 6?
No time soon.
End of the generation.
Yeah, Red Dead's got to breathe first. So no time soon.
Yeah. I agree. No GTA probably until like 2020 something. I don't see it coming out anytime soon. They will ride Grand Theft Auto Online for a while. Red Dead will come out and ride for a while. It'll be a while before we see the next Grand Theft Auto. And finally, Foul Davikin asks, are there any features that you would like to see exclusively on the Scorpio that the Xbox One S can't achieve? I already know what I want. I've been begging for this thing like a man begging for his baby to come back. I swear to you, all I want is movie party. That's it. That's all I want is movie party, bro. I swear to God, bro. I've been begging for movie party to come back since we started Tick Podcast. B Money and vouch for this. I just spoke to Mike Ybarra a billion times. Just give me movie party. It's you don't understand how ill movie party is until you're sitting in a movie with a bunch of friends laughing and watching a film or watching a comedy or watching some anime and being amazed. I can't stress enough. Movie party in Xbox is the perfect setup for having a Game of Thrones night with your homies. It sounds weird, but it's really dope when you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that to come. Oh, this is crazy. Oh, this was amazing. Great show, great episode. And all of y'all in the chat talking about the game. Or I'm talking about the episode. It's just one of the coolest features that they ever did with Netflix, and it's never returned since. And I don't understand, if they can make it work on 360, why the hell can't they make it work on Xbox One S that really should be way more feature rich than 360? I don't get it. I don't care if they have to make it an app. They need to bring back movie party.
Yeah. If I had to pick one, it's one that we kind of got this generation, which is actually dying this next update. It's kind of a reworked Snap feature. I liked the idea of being able to do something at the same time. Like there are certain games you play that are boring or has a lot of grinding and you want to watch Netflix or something at the same time. I would like a picture-in-picture mode where, like, on my phone, I can multitask. I can be watching YouTube and being on Twitter at the same time. Like, I can do both of those things. I enjoy it. But, like, imagine in the top right-hand screen, and you can pick where it would go in there. You can actually watch an episode of, like, Netflix, and it doesn't obstruct your screen with, like, it doesn't change the framing of everything. It's just a picture-in-picture.
Yeah, just a PIP. Gotcha.
Like that would be nice. I would like that. Like, because sometimes you're playing a game like Fallout in particular is one of those games I like playing because I don't have to be paying attention. I can just kind of play. I can just grind it out, or like play Diablo or something like that, where you don't have to pay attention, but it takes time, or even better, Elite Dangerous is one of those games too, where you are grinding all the time, and most of the time you end up listening to podcasts and stuff on the side where you're just trucking through space. It would be nice to have like something going on in the background, just so you can watch it, and you don't have to pull up something else on your phone. But that's what I would like, and it's almost there here, and they're getting rid of it now, but at least with the Snap mode. But I didn't like Snap because it pushed my screen in frame. I hated that so much.
Yeah.
But for me, mine's just actually gonna have to do with more of the features for the games. Like I really want like to see more like PC settings, so where I can actually change the textures uh, in the game. You know what I mean? And not just frame rate or what resolution the game is going to run in, but to be able to change the way that textures are viewed and just more PC like settings for the games is what I want to see on the Scorpio, if that is possible.
Basically, you just want Xbox to make a PC. Like they're already doing PC stuff. They might as well just make just console PC. Just make a PC that we can purchase that's built like a console.
Just put the Steam box,
that's what I feel they should do.
Just make a Steam box basically, and just put it so I can put it in my living room. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree with that.
I think that's like the cornerstone market to where like, everybody was like, oh, I want to get into PC gaming, but there's, so much stuff we got to worry about or whatever the case is. But like, if they could make it to where you can basically put that in your living room, you know what I mean, and put it in a console form, then I think they could strike gold right there.
I think if Microsoft was to make a true Steam box where you could play both Xbox titles and PC titles, they win. It's absolutely like Nino. What is the game called from PlayStation? Nino Kuni.
Yeah, that game is dope. Actually,
that game just hit PC. Now, could you imagine if there was a Steam box on Xbox that actually ran that game where you could download it?
Yeah,
you wouldn't even have to worry about it coming to Xbox. You just have the PC version of it running on your console. Bro, just go all in. You already in the PC market. Give Xbox gamers a true hybrid of PC and Xbox. I don't understand why they can't do it. If Steam can do it, they can do it. They need to be able to do that.
The funny thing about that, though, is that, like I said before, the first person to do it will win and lose. Because the first person who does it will win every console war argument because, we got both. You can't stop us now. At the same time, Microsoft or PlayStation, whoever does that, would lose because you're opening up a storefront that now people have access to, and they're going to have engage in competition regularly with sales, which is great for the consumer, but Microsoft will ultimately lose out because they don't have that captive audience anymore.
I mean, it doesn't matter though, because if your console is selling, right, and you're able to sell those PC games on your console, you're bringing more people. Look, the whole point of Microsoft putting games on Windows 10 is that you're just trying to get that PC audience. If you have a console that can play like a PC, that has the power of a PC, but the price of a console, you have people buying your console because they don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars on. I've seen a lot of PC gamers say this: if so-and-so console could do this, then I will buy this console because I don't have to spend $1,200 to get a console to run in 4K. I want to see this happen. This is what a lot of people say that I see, and I feel like you have an opportunity to grab that base as well as the console base and anybody interested in being able to play both without having two machines, just a 2-in-1. And that's just how I feel. That's something they should really be able to do. I don't know how they'll be able to do it. I don't know what deals they have to work out, but it really is something that they should really consider in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And just very quickly, somebody says Steam machines didn't work though. Steam machines didn't work for a number of reasons. But I think it works with Microsoft because Microsoft is an established brand already.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Steam is, but Microsoft is an established brand as a console. They still have their own exclusive lineups. They still have games that you can get on PC, without question, but that's unique to that particular platform. Steam really doesn't have anything like that. A lot of their titles are indie games. They don't really have exclusives like that. So it's just an open marketplace where you can play a lot of PC games. Microsoft has the opportunity to use their brand, which is still
plus like
the problem that they had, we've said this before, was marketing.
Yeah.
With Steam, like their biggest issue was they kept trying to market that thing as hey guys, what the intended, let's say the first one they were trying, what they should have been doing, and what I think they were trying to do initially was try to market it to the console fan base to say, hey, dip your toes in some PC gaming, and that would have worked. But the problem was they didn't. All their marketing was pushed at, hey, yeah, guys, let's abandon your PC for a bit and come play on our little box here. Like, hey, move over this direction. Like that's what their messaging was, and people are sitting there like, why would I invest in that whenever I could just play on my PC? And so they were marketing to the wrong people. They had the right message to the wrong people.
Plus, it wasn't just one device. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't have the one device to be like, this is what you're getting when you get a Steam box. You know what I mean? There's all these different companies who are making their own Steam box. The price point was all over the place. I think if Microsoft were to do it, or Sony, you know what I mean? If anybody could figure out how to make the 2-in-1 happen, they have one box, you know what I mean? And they can promote that to where you're getting both experiences in this one box and make it powerful enough to run games at 4K or whatever the case is, be able to change textures just like if you're on PC, and then just give it one solid price. And you can market the hell out of that. And I think, people could win. They could win with that.
I just think I think a Steam box would be smart. I know some guys don't agree. I just think it would be smart for them to do. Somehow, some way, figure it out. I know it's competition between everybody and stuff like that, but if anybody's capable of doing it, it's Microsoft. They might be the only company capable of doing it just because they own Windows, and it would be really huge if they were able to do that, and really it would just appeal to the console gamer more than anybody else. The console gamer is what you're going to grab because now you're given an option to play games exclusively on Xbox as well as on the PC.
Because you got to think, they basically did it the other way around. They put their games on PC where you can access Steam and the Microsoft Store. So you would think that they could flip that and do it the other way as well.
Yeah, and reverse it exactly for the console gamers, which would be really appealing to the console gamers who don't want to get into PC gaming, but now have a box that can do both. I just think it would be a smart decision to do. But anyway, listen, that's it for our show tonight. We really appreciate everybody stopping out at the last minute. We know it's late. Very grateful for the support and everything like that. We'll be back next week. Make sure you tune in tomorrow to all of the Inner Circles madness over at PAX. The guys over there will be uploading videos and interviews and stuff like that on ticgn.com, as well as having a show up on Tick Network. Moving over from Fame's channel to Tick Network's channel to talk about and discuss the things that happen at PAX, as well as give their opinions of the Nintendo Switch, because they will have hands-on with the console tomorrow. So very excited for that. Make sure you tune in to Multiverse on Monday with Anchorman V and the team. Of course, Super Pod Shots on Wednesdays, if I'm capable of doing it. And of course, Tick Podcast on Thursdays. And February 7th is the first episode of the Trophy Life Podcast with Nicodemus leading the way in our 3 new members of the Tick Network. So you tune into that and get a chance to hear some PlayStation game information if you guys are PlayStation fans, but just love being a part of the Tick family. So we'll see you guys next week. I'm your host, KLWR SKL, the last on the planet Xbox with B Money 101 and Anchorman V, and we are off this planet. Peace.